a beautiful day to be alive. A beautiful day to rest your mind. Would you find peace? Would you feel free? It's a beautiful day to heal thyself. A beautiful day to feel thyself. Hang out with Dr. G, sip matcha with Emily. Find your inner peace on a live stream today. We feel free.
There you go. Hello, kitchen ketchup, kitchen ketchup. Hello, everyone, on Tuesday, live stream with Dr. G and Emily. I like the flow of that. I like the flow of our new, updated health and wellness Mr. Rogers song that we just played. How do you like that song, Emily?
It's getting official. We have a song, except I did notice that the song says drinking matcha with Emily, and we have not yet made me a matcha on the show.
Ha! I got a surprise for you. We got a surprise. We got Emily's matcha right here. This was not planned. She didn't know that I was making this for her.
I actually had no idea.
We got the Dr. G special. Ooh, this one's a little, this one's like blue-gray.
It's nice. It's almost, from here, it's almost like a lavender.
Lavender, this one's more lavender color. I made this one just a little richer. So, and there's no matcha in here, there's rose powder.
There's rose.
So this is heart opening.
Heart open. And maybe that's, do you think, is the rose powder pink?
The rose powder's pink.
So maybe that's what
it
made
mixes
it a
with
lavender.
it, yeah. All right, here we go.
Thank you.
Just take care of that, okay?
Cheers.
And cheers, welcome everyone. What's in here? Rose, really awesome amino acids to calm the body down, to bring focus to the brain, and some beautiful antioxidant coloring. And that is gonna come out in a few months. We're working to make this like a proper, legitimate company. You're all gonna get access to this matcha coming up soon. But let's see. I just threw it in there. I didn't measure anything. So let's see how it tastes.
He says this every time, and it's like the most delicious, yummy beverage.
This is nice. I didn't put any coconut powder and I ran out.
Oh, that's really nice.
It's really nice. I'm getting good at this. All right, everyone. Thank you for coming to today's Kitchen Catch Up live streaming show. We had our brand new song. We got the matcha. We got the amino acids. We got our nervous system. We got our brain focus. Listen, Emily, tell me, you and I love White Lotus.
We love White Lotus.
We love White Lotus. Tell me, for all the White Lotus viewers out there, who is your favorite character on White Lotus?
Ooh. The fun thing about White Lotus is that favorite is a loaded question because most of the characters I don't think you genuinely like, but they're very entertaining. And so that's kind of the context of my answer, that it's the mom in the family.
She's so funny.
I just think she's hilarious. She's like never there. You know, she is just so checked out. And, you know, that would not be my favorite person, but it's very entertaining to watch.
Yeah, you don't have to watch White Lotus to know of a movie or a show where a certain character you identify with, you enjoy watching, you kind of watch for that character, and then maybe other characters are really triggering.
I think, so I love Belinda. Like, I genuinely love Belinda as a character, and she is kind of our grounded person that has taken us through all of the seasons. And I love her as a person, but she's not, you know, that like entertaining element of why we watch a lot of White Lotus that we can really, you know, I think the beautiful part is all of the social commentary, and you can kind of let go of a bit of your ego and like laugh at yourself and laugh at society and laugh at culture. And then also I think be woken up to a lot of elements of society and culture.
Yeah, a lot of different realities too, you know. And I say this because like whoever's watching White Lotus, awesome. If you haven't watched it, I really encourage you to watch it because it's truly a clinic in psychology. It's a clinic in all of our shadow parts. It's a clinic in all of our stable, grounded parts. and all the parts that are looking for love, looking for spirituality. Every character embodies a part of us that we want to show up in the world with, or we definitely don't want to show up in the world with.
And it goes through, it's kind of like the breadcrumbs are set throughout the season. So it's really interesting because it does kind of replicate our own shadows and like what we're, working on and working with, because you don't just see it all up front. You see how these different people's kind of shadows play a role in how they show up and their interactions and their relationships. And it's not blatant. It's not like right away, like, oh, this is who this person is. And it all starts to unravel. And apparently I saw something the other day that even in the opening credits, the images are kind of little hints at.
I wondered that. I wondered that. Yesterday I went really close to the images and I was watching everything and I go, what's the clue here about what's going on? Look, I'll send you
what I watched about it.
So for those who don't know about White Lotus, yes, it's a clinic in psychology, but there's different seasons. If you haven't watched it, oh my God, and you want to really enjoy a show that builds tension and suspense, and it's kind of like a murder mystery, highly recommend. It's on HBO. But I want to talk about shadow parts, because this is leading me to like think about these things where, do you find that in like the spiritual community, like we come in, we read self-help books, personal growth books, we go to talks, we do the meditations. Something big I notice here in LA is the spiritual bypassing, where people are actually like leaning on of all of these things instead of actually feeling angry and or feeling fearful or shameful and actually embodying it. Have you ever experienced spiritual bypassing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, even in myself, I notice there's so many layers of self-growth and self-discovery and self-development where you think that you've hit it. You think that you've figured it out and you're enlightened in whatever pattern or whatever it may be, or level of self-awareness. And then you find the layer deeper. And so for myself, I think the big journey is like in reactivity and letting things get to me. And I think my version of the spiritual bypassing is, okay, this person, upsets me, or this person says something to me or takes advantage of me. And the first level is like, I'm not going to let it get to me. Like I'm not going to let that impact me. I can control my state. I can calm myself down, and I won't let that get to me. And I think that first level is spiritual bypassing, because it's not actually taking the polarity at the same time and saying, no, let me notice what's coming. Like, I think it's kind of shoving things down.
Yeah.
And so then I got to like the next level of, okay, it's not all rainbows and butterflies and toxic positivity. It's actually noticing like the shadow parts of yourself that are coming up and realizing, can I live with those? Can I hold those? Can I actually dive into them and have more compassion for how they came to be, instead of just like shoving them away and wanting to be, perfect and enlightened and like happy all the time? Because I don't think that's true spirituality or true self-growth.
I'm interested to know from the audience, do you know anyone in your life, in your family, in your work that is toxic positive? I know a bunch of people in my life who are toxic positive. And actually for me, toxic positive people scare me, because oftentimes if you tune in their face, their eyes have a lot of pain and their smile isn't fully genuine. It's not from the heart. It's sort of like, I have to smile to take away this pain.
Yeah.
And those people are the most explosive. They have biggest potential for deep repressed emotions coming out.
And that, I think historically myself, we've talked a lot about this, but myself kind of having a history and a pattern of being a big people pleaser. It's a lot of that. It's like, I need to make everyone else comfortable and everyone else happy. And so I'm completely neglecting my own feelings and my own emotions in order to, show up as this like toxically positive person and bending over backwards for everyone else. And then it's like, oh my God, the last straw, the straw that breaks the camel's back. And like, you do not want to be within like 100-foot radius of me. And that's not that's not sustainable and it's not healthy. And it also, it's then actually unfair to those around you as well, because, they don't realize that they're like slowly breaking away at you, because you're showing up in this way that's inauthentic to yourself. And then finally you explode on them and they're like, wait a second.
Who are you? Where did this come from? Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's, and that's what happens, right? When you hold a beach ball underwater, your arms get tired and it reciprocally goes all the way up in the air. I was spiritually bypassing when my mom passed away. I was really into this book called Conversations with God, and it taught me a lot about spirituality. It was the thing that actually broke me through from the Matrix, living in the Matrix, being happy, just like drinking every weekend and living one way. And it's the thing that broke me into like, hey, the world's bigger than this.
Yeah.
And a lot of those values I still hold from that book. And it was the thing I leaned on to move me away from the pain. So there was a lot of like, it's meant to be, death is beautiful. And I still believe death is a very beautiful process.
Yeah.
And there wasn't enough space for me to feel the pain of death.
Yeah.
So because I was like, it's part of the process.
Beautiful.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. And for 10 years, I just held in that pain.
And that, I think, something that I'm really fascinated by, and I think is true in many of these conversations, if not all of them, is that things aren't binary, but our brains, it's hard for us to understand that.
Yeah.
So we read something and we read death is beautiful. And so we then, the kind of spiritual bypassing, or the like first layer of it, is death is only beautiful. Yeah. But then you have to come to, okay, it's not binary, it's not black or white, it's this gray area where death is both beautiful, and it is what gives any meaning and any purpose and any beauty to life. But it's also very sad, and we're grieving because of how much love we had for the person, and that's beautiful, but we're also grieving. And so I think it's that we have to like hold those two yin and yang in us at the same time. I was actually, I was in Texas this past weekend, and I was talking to my cousin's cousin on the other side while we were driving about exactly this. She had lost her father pretty suddenly. And we were having the same conversation, that she can find the silver linings and the beautiful elements and the positive that's come out of it, of like bringing family together and her ability to carry him in her memory. But that doesn't mean that it's not awful. And it doesn't mean that it's not sad. And it doesn't mean, that the opposite exists at the same time.
Yeah. We can live in a state of duality in one experience, right? And the pain and the pleasure, the sadness, but the love all exist. And for me, you become more of a master of your experience the more that you can understand and embody that. Like when someone dies, can you feel all of the darkness and pain of that death and feel all of the light and the joy of their life and where they may have transcended to? Holding both is really important in this experience, because it's sort of one experience, a microcosm of the whole of life. Is like the philosophy of everything being in balance. Chinese medicine takes it, nature shows it. Can we embody all of the light and all of the dark? Now, spirituality and personal growth really moves the magnifying glass towards all the light. And a lot of communities, especially spiritual communities, I mean, it's sometimes like so annoying for me that I'll be at these events and it'll be like really like just like only light.
Yeah.
And I think the best events that I go to are the ones that we hold.
Yeah.
Expose people's darkness and their light.
Absolutely.
That's when people have a comprehensive experience and they go, whoa, like I feel transformed. So not to say don't do the beautiful light things, but complement them with doing the beautiful dark things.
Yeah, because even if you understand that, if you're holding space and it is at an event and there are people who don't have that level of awareness to know that both exist at the same time, then they might think, oh, everything has to be love and light, and anytime anything that's not love and light comes up, I have to shove it down. Because you're not just getting rid of it. You're not just using the love and light to get rid of it. Like, it's still there, and it's gonna continue to like rear its head in so many different ways until, IFS, parts work, like all of the emotional release. You have to accept and allow for that to be a part of you.
Yeah.
and then learn how to have compassion for it, learn how to have a new perspective for it, and learn how to like hold that part of yourself. You can't just shove it away.
I'd love to know in the comments. Let's check on the comments.
Yeah.
I love to see what people are saying right now.
We have some excitement about your matcha.
Ooh.
So you did say that it's coming out in a few months. Anything else that we want to share about the matcha to get people excited?
Okay, so it is up-leveled matcha. It is in the works, you know, building like a brand and creating branding and actually like raising money to it's not cheap just to get a first order. So all these logistical things are crazy. We've been working hard behind the scenes. Well, we really wanted to create something in the integrity of me. And you know how crazy I can be with like heavy metals and pesticides. So I want to put something out to everyone where they don't even have to question it. They know that it's like stamped by me. And ironically, it's not easy to find like companies or packet or distributors and people who wholesale this stuff. That really are like putting that at a high level. They're like, oh, we'll get you this. It's the cheapest one. I'm like, no, wait.
Yeah.
You know? So
and
that's
really,
coming out soon.
I can imagine it, like, it then allows you to not to excuse or to forgive. Like it's this same, it's not binary, you know, we can make the decisions to have high quality products, but when you're in the process and you learn how difficult it actually is, you're like, okay, wow, maybe I'm not going to judge to the same extent that I did these brands that aren't, because maybe they don't even know, maybe they're getting, like, I think it's so complicated, but I have so much respect for someone like yourself who's, you know, he's taking a long time to make sure
to do
that,
this. We've been doing this since the summer.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is like, you look at the Excel sheet and then you can plug in the numbers for like the cheapest, and the profit margins are like way bigger.
Yeah.
So it makes sense from the business standpoint of people who don't really value this. It's a slam dunk. They go, sure, we'll just get crappy quality products. But the thing is, I'm of the philosophy that when people drink this, their body's feeling quality. They're feeling things that are alive, that are not adulterated. And that experience translates to a customer who goes, hey, I'm going to do this all the time.
Yeah.
I feel this. I trust it.
Absolutely.
You know? Okay, let's check on a little more comments.
Yeah. Okay. To the spiritual bypassing question, Dianasaurus Rex has met someone who wouldn't admit to any. She also has an amazing name. Who wouldn't admit to any negative feelings. He would just say that God would take care of him. It seemed that he wouldn't even allow himself to be upset.
Tough.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, we are humans in this human experience. We are this soul having in this experience in this human body. And the expanse of being a human is relativity. It's light and dark. It's pain, it's pleasure. And we're only leaning into it. It's wonderful saying, like, there's God is leading me towards something. Yes, have a connection with God and have a connection with your body, because you'll see when you have a connection with your body, that darkness starts showing up. You can't just have a connection with God without having a connection with your body.
Yeah, I think that's a big,
hell.
in the spiritual space, is that the idea is that the goal is to be enlightened. The idea is to actually like pull yourself out of the human experience and to only be enlightened, but it's actually meant to be a balance between the two. And it's how can you have a more spiritual and enlightened experience while also having a human experience and even seeing the beauty in the full range of the human emotions.
Yeah, and feeling what you need to feel, right? Like so, that was, before we go on to the clips that I want to go through. That was the fault of mine. It was, I was just meditating, leaving my body, having a blissful connection, and dissociating from my body, because I was living outside of my body. But I was living outside of my body because I had so much pain inside my body. And that's what I liken to heaven and hell. Is like, heaven is the human experience, but hell is the body experience. But it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's part of the experience. It's the density, right? We're vibrating at a high frequency. We're souls. We slow our frequency into matter. And in this matter experience of being a human, that's the physical experience, the hell experience. But hell is nothing more than a creation that we create in this experience when we're fully disconnected from source and our body, right? So people are living in hell already. But the truth of the matter is like when we balance both heaven and hell, that's real embodied enlightenment.
Absolutely.
I want to see these. We have some good videos that I want to review with all of you. Okay, all right. Let's see, I don't watch any of these too. So here's the first one on Instagram. Okay. What we got here?
I know
Daniel and David Gam, I know these both. Okay.
Instead of trying to always ascertain if they are the one or not, realize that they are the one that your soul called in now in order to elevate you. Be extremely present, have fun, learn every lesson you need to learn, grow the greatest product that you can grow, which is your consciousness, through this relationship. And once you elevate yourself and elevate your consciousness and expand your vessel, new energy will come in, which will then show you which path to take. But everyone's kind of like holding on to the old vessel and trying to logically ascertain whether this is right or not, asking friends. Anybody you ask, you're only going to draw the same frequency of who you are, so it doesn't really matter. And every podcast you listen to, you're only going to hear what your vessel's vibration is. How do I know if the person I'm with is the one?
I liked it. I literally liked it with a button. That's my friend David Guillaume on my friend Danny Morell's show. I respect them both a lot. David is his teachings and wisdom are in Kabbalah, but a lot of the time he can take these Kabbalistic teachings and apply them into everyday life, and I love that one because so many of us are like waiting for the one. Look, I have know a lot of women, right? And I have friends back home and all over, and they'll say, "Yeah, I'm waiting for the one, Christian." And without taking the lens and moving it forward and go, what is the frequency I'm putting out? And oftentimes, the very wanting, I'm desperate to find the one, is the energy that repels the one, or the one you need at that time, as David is saying, the one you need at that time to expand your consciousness. And I really believe that people, places, things, situations, circumstances will come in and out of your life the very moment that you need to experience them. And so as they come into your life and as you experience them, there's a reason. Like I've had several girlfriends, and in those experiences, I'm like, wow, X girl is the one, Y girl is the one, Z girl is the one. They were the one that I needed in that experience to actually, in reflection of relationship, see the parts of me that were so wounded and creating the same pattern and experience. So then I can move away from that relationship and call in another the one, which was at the time, that's the one. Yeah. But then, oh no, that's the one to show you how much pain you have. This one's the other one to show you how deep your wounds are. I have a wonderful partner, but it's been so much work to even call her in, right? And I actually feel like I found a place where I feel like I found the one, and I surrender if it's the one for now, which I don't think. I actually think it's long term. But the truth of the matter is that I had to become so many versions of myself. So I so appreciate David saying expanding the consciousness.
And then you gain so much perspective of when you're in this current relationship. You're like, thank God I didn't meet her, years ago when I wasn't in this place that I am now, and when I hadn't gone through all of the lessons with past relationships that I had. And then when you can actually use that with foresight. So if someone is thinking right now, I just, wish that I could meet the one, maybe you have a lot more growing to do. And you'd be like, actually, no, I don't want to meet someone at this current, the words that David had used, at this current vibration or frequency. If I have, if I know that I'm doing all of this work and I'm, raising my vibration and my frequency, then the person that I'm going to meet is going to be at that level. And I don't want them right now, you know?
100%. I can't imagine 2015, 10 years ago. I can't imagine 10 years ago, the person that I was living with that I thought was the one, if I had kids with her, they would be repeating generational wounding that I didn't even know that I had or even knew how to break. It took me another 9 years after 2015 to go through that process, while finding many the ones in my life going, oh wow, I'm in love. And then I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Or look at all this wounding. Why do I keep creating the same experience? So I really, really respect and love what David said, because he said something important, expanding your vessel. The way Kabbalah looks at things is that you are a vessel where Creator works through you. And the things that block the vessel are many different things, like traumas, when we speak badly about people, when we're indulging in things that aren't in alignment with our soul, all the negative stuff, that's there. So when we expand our vessel, we can hold more light. That's the way Kabbalah says. So as we hold more light, we become more attractive. And not just for people, but like in our purpose. We live life as a lighter, a wider light, a taller light, a more expansive light.
And I think what's cool about that perspective is that then even you can use it to develop less shame and guilt, because I think, you know, to what we were saying earlier, there's the layers of this awareness and like self-discovery. And the first layer might be that then you don't want any of the darkness that's like taking away from the light, but actually you can look back and realize that all of the darkness that you've been through, and even all of the, you know, choices that you've made that maybe at the time you didn't feel like were coming from a place of light, actually gave you that contrast to be able to learn from them and to be able to bring in more light. So those could have been given to you in order to rise above them and to bring in more light.
So that I have a question then. How do you know, first I want to ask this to the audience as they plug this in. How do you know that you found the one? If you have if you're in a relationship, how do you know you found the one? If you're single, what are your parameters? How do you know you found the one? I'm really interested to know what the audience has to say. Emily, how would you know you found the one, or how do you know that you have found the one? Like, what is your parameters?
I feel like, so I've been with my boyfriend for 9 years, maybe now. And I think that answer has changed, but I think the biggest thing that has been constant through all of it is that I feel completely comfortable in myself and my authenticity, and that's changed. Like, I think that's what's so powerful for my unique situation, is that like we started dating when we were very young and immature. But, you know, I think David had talked about when you're in a relationship and you're kind of holding each other where they are, but that's been the complete opposite for us. Like, I've gone through a lot of changes. My partner has gone through a lot of changes, but with each new relationship that we're in, because it really is a relationship with a new person, that we continue to be able to be that new person and to support that new growth for each other, which is really special.
That's a wise gem. I would agree with that. Is that can you hold all of the versions of this person you love or supposedly say you love? And oftentimes people get in relationships and go, well, I love Emily for all of these pieces of her. But then when other parts of Emily that are very much so alive, that don't align with us as men, or are too scary for us men to hold, or whatever stories, when that comes up, we can't hold it. That to me is not unconditional love. Yeah,
it's attachment. And it's attachment to an ideal of the person that you created in your head. It's not an actual relationship with the human being that's in front of you who's going to surprise you, because they're not you and they're not the person that you've made up in your head. But we need to constantly check in. Okay, am I disappointed in how they show up because they're not comparing to the ideal version that I created in my head? And in the way that they are different, and in the way that, you know, maybe I'm not disappointed, but it doesn't exactly align with my ideal version of them, do I still want to be with that person? Yes or no? And you have the autonomy to make that decision, but I don't think that you have the autonomy to say that they're right or wrong in how they're compared to what you ideally want them to be.
How to comment, so if I want to know.
Yes. I mean, we did get a little shout out from Zen Basil that said, anyone who has known you are one. She's absolutely 100. That little 100 emoji.
Shout out to Zen Basil too. I eat Zen Basil.
We have some love for the upgraded sound setup. So I think we're still waiting on some of the answers to your question.
What I want to, like, pathology, man. Like, I have been in a relation. I was addicted to women that were jealous and crazy in my 20s. I loved it. I loved all the drama. And do you know how toxic that is? Can you even believe how toxic that is?
since you've done that work, have you discovered what it was in you that, because, you know, it sounds silly to be like, I love someone who's crazy and toxic and jealous, because those qualities don't make your life better. But do you know what it was that maybe you did
I was in chaos.
love about it? Yeah.
I was internally chaotic, and there was no peace. There was no nervous system regulation. And so the internal tornado inside of me was being expressed in the people that I was bringing in my life and the places that I was going. A lot of alcohol, right? And that already brings out those tornadoes within everyone. So I was attracting another tornado.
Yeah.
2 Tasmanian devils being like, I love you, you love me. And we're like this, and it's just clashing.
Yeah, because when there's like chaos in you, that's the frequency that it's attracting.
Yeah, and there was a lot of anger. So imagine what happens, right? It's like arguments, toxic relationships, jealousy, fights, anger, arguing. There's these parts of us that are unprocessed, that are so held down. So we attract these people.
And there's, and I don't necessarily have the philosophy that like there's some predetermined thing that's putting those in your life, but I think that some people do have that belief. But I think that because that's the like energetic vibration that's in us, I think it's naturally like attracts like. And so I think it is attracting that for us in order for us to see it and to be able to release it.
Yeah, to be able to release it, right? So like, but here's the problem. We take that magnifying glass and we magnify them, we don't even put it on us. So we go, I hate when you do this, or I'm triggered. You don't even say I'm triggered because you don't have that. You just project to them.
It's all them.
And it's all them. The moment we take, and this is what happened, there was patterns, same ending. Pattern, same ending. And I'm not
like,
seeing
who's the
that it
common
was kind of like
denominator?
and then after like the 4th one, I'm just sitting there. Which one was it? It was I was like living in the woods by myself, and I was like, wait a minute.
Sometimes that's what it takes.
The woods by myself. Wait a minute, is that me? And then I was like, and then my consciousness went ding 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 ding, and then I was like, I have some work to do.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy.
All right, we got some good comments.
What we got?
So Dianosaurus Rex again. I know that I have found the one because we don't give up on each other and we don't let the other person give up on him or herself. We also respect each other and are always working on ourselves too.
I like, hold on, I like that. And the fact that, and we'll go to the next comment in a minute, but I heard this quote with two really, it was like 80 years, they're 82, 80-year-olds, they've been together for like 60 years, 70 years. Wow. They were like super young, like high school. And I go, what's your secret? How long have you been together? Why have you been together so long? He's like, we just didn't want to break up at the same time, you know? So they went through life, but like, I really love that as like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, is that when me and my partner, we know that whatever we get into, this isn't on the table. Let's just break up then. We don't say it, we don't even entertain it. It's not a possibility outside of the integrity of the relationship. We have our boundaries, that's that. But other than that, shit's gonna happen. We're always gonna be like, all right, I'm here, you're here. Always. None of us ever feel abandoned. So I really resonate with that one. What else we got?
All right. Greenie K meets me where I am, accepts me as I grow, which has been a lot in 12 years. Safety and communication.
Yeah. If you can communicate from the heart as a man, it sounds like, was this a female? Do we know? It sounds like her partner, and if it's a man, shout out to him, because we know how hard it is for men to even communicate. You know? And
communicate with safety.
Oh my God. Shout out to him shout out to his nervous system.
Yeah. And to her, because I mean, the panel that you were on that I had hosted about men's mental health, it's both up to the man, but then also how can their partner, whether another man or whether a female, create a safe space for them and have that compassion of like, just because it's really easy for me to communicate my emotions, I can't project that onto you and expect the same out of you. Like, how can I create a safe environment to protect you and being able to like crawl out of, you know?
Because a lot of the time a man will want to express, and we hear you. We're trying to get our words together over time. The next time we're trying to get our words together, we're trying to get our feelings together, and then we actually express ourselves. And God forbid, it's not met with love, and it's met with fear and contraction and judgment or sadness or ridicule or criticism, that man will never open up again.
Yeah.
All it takes is just one time of being not as vulnerable as it is to not be seen and loved with it. And it's so difficult for a man to open up.
Yeah, I mean, think about any of these situations where you work really, really hard to do something, whether it's being vulnerable, whether it's something else, and you're taking all of the, mental anticipation and build up to get there, and then it could even be something at work. You work really, really hard on something, and then it's not received well, and you're like, oh, okay, and you get super discouraged.
Yeah, it's part of being a human too. I want to go in my cabinet here. I don't know why I'm going to it, but I just feel attracted to go to it. And I want to share, what can I share? Let's see. What do you think people want to, ooh, I got a good one. The immune one. Okay. So I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. So this is coming from my own personal drawer. But this company, Tro Plus, these are troches, and they have different ones. They have like a methylene blue one that I use. They send me these, and they're like by troches. They're just like these lozenges that melt on between your gum and your cheek. And when I was away this weekend, and on the second day I started feeling run down, tired, chills. Like I felt I'm like, oh no, am I coming down with something? I don't want to. And I didn't bring much immune stuff, but I brought this, and I was surprised. I was like, we have to go to Whole Foods, and I found this. I go, let me try it. And all this is cordycepin, which I believe is the protein from cordyceps, the mushroom, that helps with your immune system.
With immune health.
And I felt so much better the next day. And then I used it the next day, and I felt so much better. This has kept me from getting sick. Like, I'm balancing this with a lot of sleep, so like 9-10 hours of sleep. But these I really think made a huge difference. I got home and I took some vitamin D. But what a nice balance. It's Tro Plus. It's a new company, but it was really fantastic. And of course, I have some vitamin C, vitamin D. That's it. A lot of us get sick during the winter because we just don't have enough vitamin D. The levels drop from the summer. And
I've even heard that even in a place like California, where or specifically LA, where we have a ton of sun, that it's even really difficult to get the appropriate levels of vitamin D just from being outside, that a lot of us need to supplement.
I think at this point, I think most of us, at least during the winter, go to your doctor. If your vitamin's below 50, if it's in the 20s or 30s, you definitely need to supplement. Not only is vitamin D implicated in your immune system, but all different types of cancers, especially breast cancer. Big for breast cancer. So vitamin D plays a major role, and it's like we evolved with the sun, lots of skin hitting us, and being exposed to the sun throughout the day. The sun is so healing, but we don't want to be in there for too long, especially if it's hot. We have to protect. We don't listen to our body, right? We'll go to the beach, and it'll get really hot, and we'll just stay there. You know, when we get a little uncomfortable, we're like, I feel like I'm heating up, I'm overheating. That's your body saying we're good for today.
Yeah, we're done.
So either put on lotion and really protect, or get into shade. But vitamin D, it's like, if there was anything that I would say is like, when you're getting sick, sleep, most important. Get to bed earlier and knock out through the night. Try to put your alarm for 9-10 hours. Vitamin D, vitamin C. If you just do, and some immune, like an herb, whether it's like elderberry, or you can do echinacea, golden seal, anything else to support your immune system. If you just do those, it's so much better than just like, I don't know, taking some sort of cough syrup or something.
Yeah.
It just makes a bigger difference.
Yeah, I noticed, I was out of town last weekend as well, and I didn't really, right now I'm kind of feeling it in my throat, but I didn't really notice myself getting sick. But last night, I woke up covered in sweat. And so clearly my body was like, there's something here, and we're fighting it off. But I slept for a long time last night. because I woke up really early to fly back. But so I slept for a long time, and I feel like it was giving my body what it needed to like to
100%.
cook out whatever was
Sleep is the
happening
best.
there.
Sleep is the best. I've done a few saunas, and that helps me too. I want to know, comments, what is your favorite immune supplement or intervention when you're getting sick to stop you from getting sick? I want to know people's codes. What are the codes on this?
What are the codes? While we're waiting on those, Sheeran asked about your blue cat meditating behind you.
Whoa, we saw the cat. Let me tell you something. My girlfriend does not want it in the house. She said, you know, one of these. I go, do you like it? And she smiles and she goes, if you love it, I like it. And that means like, no, I don't. But let's bring it on camera.
At least it's like a blue meditating cat and not like the, you know, basketball jersey in the picture frame.
Right. Like a Michael Jordan poster with sign. So this cat.
I had to hide a few of those when I moved in with my boyfriend.
Yeah, I just got this cat in Cambria, California. And I went to an art studio. And the cat, you see the blue? It's called Yves Blue, Yves. And that's a French artist. And all his work that he ever did in France was this color blue.
Wow.
Everything that he did. So he became famous for this color blue. Well, it turns out they don't sell this color blue in America. Nowhere. No one uses this blue. They don't use this blue paint, not this exact formula. So there's one artist, and he's from Venice actually, but a lot of Cambria, this art studio in Cambria sells his stuff. He flies to Paris, gets the Yves Blue, and does a bunch of these ceramic cats and dogs meditating. So actually what brought me into the store was this. It was out the window, and I'm walking across the street. I go, what a beautiful blue. And I just started walking in there like a zombie, and the lady starts telling me the story. I couldn't not buy it. So
and right now you it's not the same color because you can't get anything else but your pants
right?
and your
I just
and
can
even
never
your
get
picture
the
back
Yves,
there.
It's still not Yves Blue. So, you know, me being a little bougie, I was like, okay, well, if no one else has it, I want it.
I'm curious, he on his way back, like, you know how with customs, my friend was telling a story that I guess right now because of maybe mad cow disease, you can't come back with meats.
Whoa, okay.
And so she was saying, you know, her and her mom were in Paris and got all of these like meats and cheeses and wines and stuff to bring back, and the guy coming through customs is like just talking to her, and she just thinks it's a casual conversation. He's like do you have any meats? And she's like, yeah, some salami, and they like totally pulled her out of line, had to search everything.
Literally like temperature thermometer zipping her up.
But so I'm curious with him coming back with all this paint. That's
like this, right? Like what? How does he even bring it here? Like barrels and barrels of paint. I want to. What do people
we have
using
some
for their
good
immune
recommendations.
system? Yeah, I want to know.
So sunlight.
Of course. Of course.
Elderberry and ginger tea.
That's beautiful.
Ooh, oregano oil capsules.
Ooh, that is strong.
The Moon Juice ginger shots has oregano oil in it, and like I can do the ginger, I can do cayenne, I can do even when they have like little bits of garlic in them, black pepper, but something about oregano oil, like my eyes aren't just watering, I'm like sobbing.
Oregano oil is incredibly strong. Like shout out to oregano oil.
Yeah. Shout out to Moon Juice's oregano oil too.
It's incredible. Like I use that when it's like, okay, this person's like really sick. You know, my brother, when I was younger in medical school, he had the worst flu and he was in bed. And I remember I came home from school and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make him a concoction. And I go, you have to drink it. And it was like 3 ounces of everything that I had, but it was oregano oil heavy.
Wow.
Thank God my brother didn't throw up, but he just like sat up off his bed and he just took this shot. He came down like 6-7 hours later, a new person.
Wow.
There was ginger, cayenne, oregano, elderberry, echinacea, golden seal.
Oh my goodness.
There was immune mushrooms. I think I crushed up vitamin D capsules in there.
We got to make you like an immune matcha.
An immune matcha.
Immune
matcha.
And you add all of these herbs to
and just, I don't know if it'll taste that good. I got something for you. So I went to, when I was in Cambria, I got this cider. It's called Wildfire This is by Wildfire Elixirs.
I've seen that.
You've seen this one before? I actually think that this is a big part of why I've been taking shots of this. This is I put on my story. This is the lung tonic. They have a digestive one too.
Yeah, I've seen the digestive bitters tonic
Digestive
one.
bitters. So this is apple cider vinegar base, and then on top of that they add different things like ginger, honey, but they have all these lung herbs in there. And I was drawn to it because I felt kind of like congested
Because
in
it's
my
blue.
lungs. And because it's blue, and that was a theme of the day, right? So licorice for reducing the inflammation in the lungs, mullein for reducing inflammation in the lungs, but then it has all of the immune stimulating herbs like echinacea, sage, rosemary. So it's actually good though. It hits, but it's actually good. I'll give you a little shot after.
Yeah, I would love that.
But actually, you know what? Maybe we'll do a little shot. Do you want it? Do you want a
Yeah.
shot? Will you do it? Stay right there. I got you. Don't worry about it. Check the comments. What do we got?
Okay, we have some more recommendations. Zinc, lemon balm, vitamin C,
Beautiful.
electrolyte water, all high quality, of course.
Yep. I like that.
Ooh, elderberry colloidal silver
Ooh.
and oregano oil.
Ooh. You know, elderberry is such a classic, and elderberry has great data behind it. One study showed that elderberry is as effective as Tamiflu for the flu.
Wow.
Same exact effect. It will reduce the length of the flu in the same amount of time. I don't remember the exact days, but I just remember elderberry being the same as Tamiflu, which was really like beautiful to think that like, wow, you know, you could take Tamiflu, but elderberry in its natural state, right, is just wonderful. So here's this fireside shot. We're gonna do shots like we did in 2000 and what? When was your party years?
Like 2010 to 2022.
Okay, that's a few years. Okay.
Yeah.
Mine's like 2003.
Maybe 2012.
2012. Mine's 3
where
to
we
13.
started.
3 to 14, 3 to 13 or 14.
Okay.
So we're gonna do shots like we did in those years. All right, we got this fire cider. Let's take a shot. Look at Emily's face. That was a nice face.
It's not bad.
It's not bad, but it hits.
Yeah.
Woo, my eyes are watering.
My mouth is watering.
We got Emily. Woo, that hits. The cayenne is like going through my body.
It's like my cheeks are like salivating.
Yeah, it really,
That's good.
really hits. But it doesn't taste bad.
Yeah, it like at first you get that apple cider vinegar and like, but it has a nice like a nice carrier kind of flavor with
It's
it.
got
That's
some
good.
honey in it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
But whoa, I feel awake.
Yeah.
That really woke me up.
So so this one is for lung health, but with the apple cider vinegar, because I know that I'm curious your thoughts on the, for reducing blood sugar spikes, people taking a shot of apple cider vinegar before they eat. Do you?
Put in a little water.
Yeah.
And it acts like a bitter. Basically, it's going to stimulate hydrochloric acid to start being released from the stomach to help you break down food. It's the biggest problem. Like we have gut issues and we don't think that maybe it's because we're eating and we're stressed and we're not eating mindfully. And when I was in practice, I would tell people with gut issues, okay, before I give you this test, before I give you a protocol, in this first week, turn off your phone, turn off sounds. If you have to eat at work, get headphones and put like meditation music and take a few breaths and then eat mindfully. Most people's gut issues start feeling better all of a sudden that they had. It's just because they're stressed and they don't have good food hygiene. Yeah,
because I think so on the one hand, if you're being chased by a bear, you're not going to be digesting. All of your energy is going to be put to like increasing adrenaline and cortisol and all of these things and helping you run from a bear. And so you're not going to be able to process your food. And so when we're in these states of fight or flight, even when we're not being chased by a bear, but just because of everyday life or because of social media, then your body isn't thinking about digesting properly. But I think it's really interesting that you share about like the hydrochloric acid. Is that what you would say? So the whole process that goes into from us getting hungry to starting to eat or to thinking about eating to starting to eat. And so I know you've talked a lot about like chewing your food multiple times and that kind of starts to like the salivas and increasing the acids and that whole process. But if we're just jumping to like stressed, or God forbid, still stressed while eating, like I'm working and I'm eating at the same time, your body's not going through all of those processes. And I have a friend who works a lot with hormone and gut issues, and she said a lot of people think the root is like, I have a parasite, I have candida, and she said the root is actually the stomach acid beneath that. So if you don't have enough stomach acid to be breaking these things down, then it's not going to be able to regulate your gut microbiome and keep things like parasites and keep things like candida at bay, or SIBO at bay. And so it's not, and then when people, you know, do a parasite cleanse only, they're not getting to the root issue. They're going to keep getting a parasite. Or if they just, you know, do something for the candida, they still have the root issue, which is that their environment is not like properly set up. Yeah.
pH plays a major role. And pH not only signals like the microbiome, what's going on, but certain bugs live and thrive in a certain pH level. And when it deviates from that level, other bugs grow. And they grow pretty fast. And Dr. Guy Citrin came on my show 3 years ago and talked about the importance of stomach acid. Now, for people who are in a sympathetic state, if they're eating in their car, eating on the go, eating and they have to make it back to work, eating and talking in a conversation, all of these things are putting you in away from the awareness of the body. So if you're in the sympathetic, it's not active. The nervous system, the nerves are actually going to the stomach, telling the stomach to build up and begin to release hydrochloric acid. Enzymes are not working. They're not activated when you're in sympathetic. So we're in sympathetic, we eat, now we're bringing all these foods. The body's reacting to the food, but it's not in preparation mode. And if you think how we evolved, right? Things are being cooked. It's not ready yet. You know, when we were little, we go home and like mom would be cooking. We'd be in and out of the kitchen and smelling things. It'd be like, what? And you know, maybe we're lifting up the lid and we're smelling it more.
And that's all starting
It's
the chemical
food
process.
foreplay. That's the food foreplay. We need that food foreplay to get everything going. And then we sit and we're not in front of the TV or playing video games or on our phones, and we eat. Watch how much better digestion is, and to our food. Watch how better digestion is. Now, I have digestive enzymes that I take, but I take them because I'm not perfect. So there's days where I'm on the go, or I know I'm stressed, but I haven't eaten. I got to eat, you know? So Biooptimizers, Masszymes, these are the ones that I take.
Yeah, I'm curious if you have any like tactical recommendations for people to help with this, because I go through this all the time. I know consciously that I should be sitting down and eating and being in the parasympathetic state and eating enough and all of these things. And then I'm in the habit of my days, you know, being the way that they are. And I haven't eaten lunch and it's 2 p.m. and I'm grabbing a Chomps bar and I'm like eating it while I'm driving wherever and then drinking a smoothie, which I know smoothies are hard because it's just all of
cold, raw,
And so for me, I find when I prepare, and specifically if I do some sort of meal prep, that is the only thing that I found that like really sets me up for success, because I'm not then needing to get overwhelmed by having to both cook and eat the food. I'm like, okay, I have all of the food ready. I just need to eat it, and I can give myself, you know, the 30 minutes to actually do that.
Yeah, it's, listen, I'm with you. It's, when you're busy, it's really hard if you don't have the food. I mean, I unfortunately order dinner 4 times a week, you know, and there's no food foreplay. Someone shows up, that's the food foreplay. When someone walks and drops off the food, I'm like, oh, the food. You know?
Maybe if you're starving and like while you're looking through Uber Eats or Postmates or something,
but
your
it never
mouth
gets
starts
to
to
that
water.
level. But the best is when I have something in here and it's already pre-made. I don't have even much time on a Sunday, because Sunday I don't want to start cooking food like for a few hours. I just want to relax, you know? I did some food delivery services, but they're expensive, right? So I'm going to tell you what I did the other day. I love ChatGPT. So I self-admittedly am not the best cook, nor am I the most innovative cook. I want to cook more. I enjoy like cooking when it's happening. I don't enjoy cleaning up, right? So I looked in my pantry, I looked in my fridge, and I said a voice note to ChatGPT. I said, all right, ChatGPT, I have some tofu, celery, arugula. I have these, I named like 7 sauces. I said, I have these spices. I went in my pantry, I have like, you know, chickpea pasta, you know, whatever. And I'll say, please make me a meal, a dinner that I can make in the next 15 to 20 minutes. And then within 10 seconds, it literally took me 10 minutes to make.
Was it good?
Better than anything I made.
Oh my God.
Better than any.
Wow.
I'm over here mixing tahini and mixing this chili sauce and things that I would have never thought to combine.
Wow.
I'm mixing it up. I'm throwing it in there while it's cooking. And it was like, wow, did I just make a good dinner? For the first time, I think I actually made a really good dinner.
That's really, really incredible.
Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you.
And what a good use of ChatGPT, because I know there are apps out there, but you would have had to like find the app and where, you know, it has your grocery list and then it also has the recipe recommendations that are in the app, but
it's personalized.
Yeah.
And I told them like, and I need 40 grams of protein. And I don't like this flavor profile. So it's just, that's the next time. Let's do the whole thing. All right, let's watch this clip over here.
Okay.
It's a White Lotus one. Okay, what does this mean? What do we got here?
Some dinner. Now you know that meat full of stress and disease.
Okay, hold on, okay.
Did anyone else realize how each of
Yeah,
these
I
kids
saw this.
from White Lotus is supposed to represent a different
Oh no.
aspect of Buddhism, you know, evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And I have a theory that
Okay.
it's like kind of conducive to what is going to happen in the plot. Starting with Saxon, the oldest brother, being see no evil. I think they made a really big emphasis in the first episode about him being the only one who works with their dad. And now that we know that his dad is going through some sort of financial scandal, doing something illegal, I think he is going to be a key component in what caused that. Then we get to Piper, the daughter, being hear no evil. And she's really the hardest one to place right now. I think we should know the least about her. But what's interesting to me about her character is she's the only one who has expressed interest out of like leaving the White Lotus. She's the only one who's interested in the culture of the country that they're in. So like, going to learn something like the hotel is a cult, or just like really learn something that
Okay,
just
you get the idea. If you didn't watch White Lotus, it might not have made sense. But I love the theme of hear no evil. No, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And I've been on vacations where I see those little monkeys doing that, right? When I hear that, right, it's like, when we see no evil, are we purposely being blinding ourselves to the realities of what's here? When we hear no evil, are we purposely muffling ourselves from what's around us? But I actually align with the speak no evil. To go back to Kabbalah and what David Guillaume teaches, is that actually every time that you say words that are negative towards someone, it creates a contraction in your field. So it actually creates a barrier, a block in your field. And it's kind of true, because I was thinking to myself the other day, I was around a group of people, and you know how people love to like talk about people? I want to talk about like deep shit, or I want to talk about like art or something. But people just tend to default by talking about other people. And that's okay if they're talking about them in a light of like, yeah, you know, this is what Joe said and it was really inspiring. But people tend to talk down on other people. And then before you know it, sometimes you can find yourself in the middle of the combo. How the hell did I get here? I don't want to be. But the other day I was in it and I started to feel my body. What does it feel like to be in this energy? And it was contractive. It was like, who am I to judge the agenda of someone else's soul? Like, it's a weird dynamic of like, I'm powerful enough to think that I know it all enough that I can judge a person's journey or their mistakes that they've made.
Because we're also often judging from a place of our own insecurities or our own projections when you're in that place. And then if you were to, whenever, I feel like you know, you can have these like surface level judgments of someone. And then as you start to learn more information about them and about their specific situation and why they showed up that way, you actually develop a lot of compassion for how they are the way that they are. But when people, you know, are participating in this kind of gossip, it's just looking at the outcome. It's just looking at, okay, this is, you know, how I project this person to be or how this person showed up. But you're not actually taking into account everything, you know, that led up to that you probably would have compassion for. And then if you're participating in that, you know, wouldn't you want people to have compassion for you too? Because sometimes, you know, you make mistakes. You do something that you thought you were doing the right thing and you were doing the best that you could, and it didn't come out that way. And would you want people to judge you just based on that, or to give you the compassion for?
Yeah, I don't want to be around people who judge people based on their most recent last mistake or any mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's such a short-sighted way of seeing the whole of a person. You have no idea the intricacies of their trauma, the intricacies of the relationships they had, the connections, the reconnections, the conversations they've had that have led to what you've experienced in your own lens that can be so fogged up based on your experience. We don't see people for who they are. So there's no way, just by objectively not having the capacity to see the whole of a person, we can never take that and extrapolate our own judge of that.
Yeah. And I think the goal should always be, instead of judging, trying to understand.
Yeah, the curiosity.
You know, and it can be really hard, but I think that's such a beautiful practice. Even the people that you disagree with the most, like whether it's
grow.
Yeah.
That's how you grow.
Yeah. And often things are habitual. And so if you're judging people, you're probably also judging yourself.
It's true. Let's check the last check for questions. Okay. Last rundown for questions. Let's do any rapid fire.
We have some questions about digestive enzymes. Is it safe to take them daily? How often do you take them?
You can take them every day. Take them especially when you are stressed or not mindfully eating. If you're mindfully eating, then that's okay. I tend to take mine 2 per meal, sometimes every meal. But like before this, I had a little just like a protein drink. I didn't really need it for that one. But tonight, if I have a dinner, and it's a pretty big dinner, I'll make sure to take it. Sometimes I usually bring it out with me when I go out to eat.
Any suggestion for Barrett's esophagus?
I would talk to your doctor. I would talk to, first of all, getting to the root cause, right? So if it's a nervous system thing that is keeping the sphincter open, where you're getting that regurgitation, then talking to your doctor about is it because of the nervous system, and how was it affected by a virus? What caused that? Are you not getting enough stomach acid? Are you not creating enough stomach acid? And there's that big reflux. And on the surface level, taking care of the mucosa. So then going into demulcent herbs, DEMULCENT, demulcent herbs. Those are herbs that are actually going to soothe the mucosa, reduce inflammation, because we know Barrett's esophagus can lead to the esophagitis, which can lead to cancer of the esophagus. So really, really important to get those demulcent herbs and take them every day.
Okay, last one. Any recs for adrenal health?
Adrenal health, vitamin C, major one for your adrenals. I like cordyceps. Cordyceps is really good and nourishing for the adrenals. Any adaptogenic herbs like rhodiola, ginseng, holy basil, schizandra, those are all on a spectrum, gentle to activating herbs for your adrenals. But in today's day and age, even if you're not physically stressed or mentally stressed, just breathing in the things that we do, we should support our adrenal with nourishing adrenal tonics. There's even teas that you can make that have all the ones that I talked about together. There's formulas that can help. But vitamin C, your adrenals have such an affinity, they suck it up. And magnesium, so they suck it up and they utilize all of it. So making sure you're supplementing that.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So
we're
we sound
at
good?
111.
Okay.
We're a little over.
We're a little over, but we had a lot to say today. Thank you, Emily. I love your insights today. We really got some deep wisdom. I love that we got to talk about spirituality and the depth of relationships and triggers and dark
And speaking
light.
of relationships, we have an event coming up.
Oh
next
yeah, we have an event.
Tuesday.
If you are listen, if you're in LA, I'm urging you to come to this event because it is going to be so powerful. Sex with Emily, next Tuesday in Mudwater in Santa Monica. We are not only going to be talking about sex and sexuality and really important. Emily's fantastic if you don't know Emily. She's the best gem at sex, talking about sex. And we're going to have a somatic experience. So we're actually going to feel the things that are blocking our true sexual expression. And we have gift bags, we have activations, we have cacao, we have non-alcoholic beverages, we got mingling time, so meet a new friend, meet community who are in the same like-minded people. Come join us. How do they get tickets?
You have them in your link in bio, so you can go to Christian's link in bio on his page and you'll share another story.
I'll share my stories, so keep out for the stories. Okay, thank you. Kitchen Catch Up. Love you. Next